Good morning. Today we are going to talk about project life cycle. The concept of life cycle is for almost everything under the sun is more or less similar. Like human life cycle, a baby is born and old man dies and the life cycle ends. Like product life cycle, a product is conceptualized, a product is born, is introduced, then it goes to growth, then matures, then declines. Same is same is gonna go with the project life cycle, where it's gonna get started and where it's gonna get ended. The only difference between project life cycle and product life cycle is that a project, just like a human life cycle, has an ending point. But the product life cycle, if you remember, introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. After decline, the product life cycle never meets the x-axis, but not so in case of projects. Every project has a unique starting point and a unique closing point. We actually have to go through with the concepts of project closures also. So after a closure, project is gonna get ended totally, but a project got to have a starting point and the ending point. There are certain steps in project lifecycle: and project identification, project initial formulation, project evaluation, selection, rejection, project formulation, project implementation, and completion operation or project closure. As far as project identification goes, how any person, any company, any project manager is going to identify a project. That process is a bit needs a bit discussion. But as it happens, textbooks actually have given us a framework in terms of regarding project identification. So projects can be identified on the basis of specific criteria. One, if you have the access to national plans or corporate plans. National plans and corporate plans always are going to have the growth prospects or growth aspect imbibed in it. So those plannings of the nation or the corporates, since they are going to be targeting for growth, that's why they have to expand the operations, and whenever they are going to expand the operation, then there is a need for new projects. All the countries are basically required to run various programs like health program, educational program, R&D program, and under each program you can identify certain projects. Like health program, hospitals could be there; educational program, schools could be there; infrastructure development program, housing projects could be there. So if you identify the product, if you have the access to a program of a country or even access to a program of a company, then you actually are able to identify the projects possible within those programs. Then the work packages, like if country is there, then water supply has to be maintained. If country is there, then water supply is to be maintained. If country is there, then there has got to be a logistics network or the distribution package. Under all those work packages, we actually have been able to identify the task, and based upon those tasks we can identify the projects. So for water supply, the task could be the award of water supply contract. Once that contract is awarded, that actually gets converted into a project. Then the activities within different work packages, the different programs: excavation, laying of cable, preparation of drawing, all these things can actually be converted into a separate project. Once you have identified a project, then the first thing that is required out of you is to formulate the project. So initial formulation is a process in which you identify the prospective projects, then details of each project is to be worked out and analyze how much time is required, how much resources are required, what is the suitable options that are required to be included in the project, and how the funds and from where the funds are going to be procured and how those funds are going to be allocated to execute the project. Follow up is something which is necessary for each and every one of us, may it be a company, may it be a product, may it be an individual. If anybody is able to look back what he has done in past few months or year or days, then he has the chances to identify what were the mistakes that they have committed in past and how not to recommit those mistakes again in future. And once you stop committing the mistakes or repeating the mistake, then you actually become a better individual. So follow up is something which is very very essential for all the projects, because projects actually combine a lot of men, lot of resources, lot of plans, lot of technicians, lot of machinery. So there are definite chances that somewhere down the line or somewhere in between, the mismatch of the resources or mismatch of the individuals might occur, or mismatch of the schedules might occur. So those are the things that are required to be identified for the for completion of next upcoming projects.
Project approval or evaluation of the project involves information from multiple factors. All those factors need a very detailed discussion. But right now, I'm going to give you all the points in a very precise and concise manner. So, first part of project proposal is to provide the commercial viability analysis of the project itself. Commercial viability is nothing but the ability of a business, product, or service to compete effectively and to make a profit. Next is the economic feasibility study. The economic feasibility study is the cost of detailed analysis of multiple factors. First part of this is to determine the target market, then to analyze the competition, then make the revenue projections, determine fixed variable costs, include the economic viability analysis. By giving the cost and benefit of your project and planned activities of the enterprise. Economic feasibility study is basically needs to include all the non-economic factors as well that could affect the project profitability or success in future. Then you have to make your revenue projections. The revenue of your business activity should be based on the assumed share of the target market. The next part of your project proposal will be the financial feasibility study. Financial feasibility study is about cost and profits. Financial viability of the project should provide the specific information about total estimated cost of the project, full details of the assets to be financed and how liquid those assets are, the rate of conversion of cash liquidity, how easily the various assets can be converted into cash, project's funding potential and payment terms, sensitivity in repayment capabilities, LTV, IRR, BCR, profitability index, all those things are very important part of financial feasibility. Then we have to talk about the technical. We have to do the technical analysis. This assessment is based on an outline decision design of system requirements to determine whether the company has the technical experts to handle completion of the project. And the last is the managerial feasibility study or management feasibility study. This is calculation of all those factors that will affect the success condition of the project. Management feasibility study actually talks about advantages and disadvantages. They talk about businesses to support the project execution or not, they do not see if the project is doable or not. All those things are taken care in management feasibility study. Now let's talk about the formulation. Formulation divides the process of a project development into 8 distinct and sequential stages. The stages can be nominated as general information, project description, market potential, capital cost and source for finance, assessment of the capital requirements, and other financial aspects. The last but not the least, implementation. Project implementation. A number of method techniques that have been developed for project implementation. They can be expert, CPM, GERD, WRSP, and LO. CPM and GERD are very simple to solve. The project is divided into a certain number of activities. All the activities are going to calculate into estimate. So the starting point of a project is going to be an event, and the ending point of the project again is going to be an event. Within between the start event and end event, there are going to be another activities. And completion of any every activity is going to give rise to one more event. So identification of all the events, identification of all the activities, and then sequentially planning or placing them into the chart is basically the project completion is highly debatable point because project life cycle can complete the project, but project is actually transferred in end user. So whenever we talk about the project completion, then we actually are talking about the project life cycle.